What's up, guys? It's Envy, and tonight we have a special, I'm gonna say event, right? I am joined with Bsv Josh, Jepman, Oobi, and Limit Testing for a special edition of Sit Down with Envy. Would you guys like to introduce yourself and what you guys do?
Sure. My name is Oobi, like as basically who the name everyone refers to me as, and I run tournaments under the name ECB.
That's East Coast bracket.
Okay, Jep.
Alright, I'll go next then. How about that? Yeah, I'm Jepman. I deliver pizzas. Sometimes I play in East Coast bracket and Bronze Standard 5.
Alright, I guess I'll go next. I'm Josh. I'm the current owner of Bronze Standard 5. We run weekly Iron to Gold and Iron to Platinum tournaments for the League of Legends community every Tuesday and Thursday.
I'm Limit Testing. I run tournaments for ECB. I did Rift Republic as well previously, if anyone remembers that. Just got a lot of experience in the topic that they're going to talk about tonight.
A real boomer in the field for sure.
Man's getting old.
I guess.
Right. So what we're gonna start with is we can go down the list, right? Because we've all got experience at least at some point in terms of tournament adminning and just being around the scene for quite a while. You know, referring to Jeb, he's been in here for like 6 years. Right. So behind the scenes, what are some of the things that you guys believe aren't talked about or appreciated as much? If you want to start, Josh.
Some of the things that I don't think are necessarily appreciated as much from all of the things that go on behind the scenes are the amount of hours that each and every one of our volunteer staff put in, on a day-to-day basis just to make sure that, things behind the scenes run, from creating events on Battlefires to ensuring that, staff are rostered for each week to officiate events. A lot of that goes unrecognized, and without those people, we wouldn't have the orgs that we have today running these events. So that's probably the biggest thing, in my opinion.
Appreciate the volunteers.
Yeah.
Ubi?
Yeah, I think that's one of the major talking points here. I feel like not a lot. There are a few players that come through, play in tournaments and stuff. They don't really realize that these are people actually taking time out of their day, and literally they don't really. If I'll say it, because they don't really gain anything out of it. They just enjoy the community, and literally they spend hours just sitting there adminning or like setting things up so that people can actually have an environment that they can come together and play in. I feel like that is kind of taken for granted, and people don't realize that these are people who actually have like 9 to 5 gigs or actually work full time, and they just come home and just do this for like the community. And I feel like that should be something people should be appreciating more than anything else.
Okay. Jeb, what about yourself coming in from the opinion of an outsider nowadays?
Well, I know from when I was an admin that like the entire rostering and organizing admins and casters to be on for certain nights was like a thing that like participants don't really think about. Also like the Smurf check-in process, like we'd be on an hour before the tourneys at least and checking through all the teams to make sure they're eligible and hitting them up if they're not eligible. And yeah, people don't really know the full Smurf process that we go through to like check people out.
Mm.
Can be
True.
quite extensive, right?
Yeah, well, like people will just come in and they're like, "Oh, this guy's playing too well. He has to be a Smurf." But like, yeah, we actually go and find proof through the methods that we have access to.
Yeah, and another point that I want to bring up is also, I think this falls into this topic as well, like funding for tourneys and stuff. I feel like a lot of people talk about like um the pricing being not enough or not enough events happening. They also kind of need to understand that money comes from somewhere. Like it
Yeah.
just doesn't like we just don't come up with a number from the top of our head and the money just appear and then we're like, okay, we're gonna put $1,000 towards this bracket. That's not how it works. You actually have to find a source, a sponsorship source where they think it's viable, them spending that money on you or your community so that they can actually put a brand or whatever they want to push towards that community. Like you need to find that, and that takes a lot of time and a lot of
Effort.
effort. Yeah.
Yeah, that can be quite a pain. What are your thoughts, limit testing?
Yeah, a lot of my stuff's already been touched on. A lot of the administration does take a lot of time. The Smurf checking, all that kind of stuff. Like, yeah, it's like hours, man. Like, and I don't know. It's I feel like people sort of they don't.
Underappreciate.
Well, not that they don't like appreciate it, but they just feel like we just ban people just because we think, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas like it's like we're 90% sure. Like you can never be 100, but you could, 90. I feel like is fair, right? You
Yeah.
got multiple instances, for example, where you can show that something's occurring, and then like that has to be enough because like there's no other way. And yeah, I feel like people don't appreciate that getting that kind of stuff takes a really huge amount of time.
Yeah.
And it's really boring as well. Like it's not fun.
It's not fun going through lists
Yeah,
of players, right? Check
but
in.
it's something. Yeah, but you got to do it though, because otherwise people aren't going to play because we feel anyway that if we allow that kind of stuff to happen, then it's not going to be competitive, right? It's just going to be
Yeah.
like people just dominating,
You
and
get
everyone's
stuck
just having their
with
fun.
you're gonna get stuck with
Yeah.
diamond players sitting in gold one playing gold games or still having a diamond account somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. And then another thing, I suppose, as well that they don't sort of appreciate is, and I don't mean this in like a don't appreciate in an ungrateful way, just sort of unappreciate is like you sort of just don't understand it, just because you haven't experienced it. But I feel like players should just be a bit more chill with rulings and
Yeah.
like it's like if things are late or if let's say like bracket comes out 10-15 minutes late and you got people in general saying bracket when, all that kind of stuff, like it's not like it's not coming, just be patient.
Yeah. Because
It's like the
normally
people are,
what will
yeah, it's like,
happen is they've been stuck or something, right?
well, usually it's probably like they're checking teams and they're finding that people aren't eligible and they're like, okay, well, do you have someone who is, can we get him in, sort of thing, trying to organize stuff so that they can have a game.
Yeah.
But like everyone else sort of doesn't know that. So yeah, they
Yeah.
sort of just see it as a disorganization, whereas more it's just like we're just trying to accommodate people who are disorganized. But then it just makes us look disorganized. And I feel like
Yeah.
if that's the case, people just need to sort of just accept that a little
Very good
bit and
point.
just,
Yeah.
The hard bit with this is though that if you want to have the time to go through all of these teams and make sure every single team member that's not eligible is contacted, you're gonna have to make sure all your admins on are at least an hour and a half before, right? But the other issue is that, like, well, there's two main issues here. People have jobs, they work, They don't
Mhm.
get home till like 5:30, nearly 6 o'clock sometimes.
Mhm.
And the other thing is that people always sign up at the last minute.
Yeah.
It's just the thing that happens.
Yeah.
So the period of time where, like for BSV for example, where we're checking, where we close the rego off at 6, and we
Mhm.
use that extra half hour just to try and finish off any teams that we haven't yet checked.
Mhm.
We don't always get through it in time, and that's just the reality of the situation that we're in.
Yeah.
And one key example, and I'm going to use a name here. We had a situation with the free agents. Everything was pretty much on time. The brackets were due to be released, just after 6:30. But our good mate Vigilant decided to register on free agents, and he somehow got picked up in a free agent team. And it was last minute that I noticed it because he messaged me. He's like, "Hey, does anything look wrong with this screenshot?" And I'm like, yes, you shouldn't be playing, you smurf." So we had to boot him out of the free agents and find someone else last minute to, because the admin that was seating him in didn't know his other account. So, his account that he was trying to play on was eligible. So and we got players like that. It's not necessarily he's not a bad person. We got little things like that happen, and that just adds up, takes time to sort through, and then people we injure, it's so late. We gotta sort through all these issues as well.
Yeah.
If we want the tournament to run smoothly, like it's better off that we delay it and then make sure everything's done, and then we're going to have a much better chance of everything running more smoothly later.
Mm-hmm. Fully agree with you with that one.
Yeah. Basically, things take time, right? And if something gets thrown into the works, it can take longer to fix. So on to the next point. Now, what are your thoughts? And we'll start with limit testing on this one. People who intentionally demote from a higher skill level to play in the lower skill level bracket. What do you think on that one?
I think that at its core, it's like it's pretty unethical. I would say, like, I wouldn't say, like, obviously you're not gonna get banned for it. Like, if you demote from, let's say, diamond to platinum, so that you can play 9 to plats. I'd say you were like diamond 3 last season, but you decide that you want to, go 0-15 on Singed, like 15 games, and go to like plat 2. Then, I mean, I guess you're eligible, but at the same time, I feel like there should be an amount of time before that person should be allowed to like participate, right?
Yeah.
Gotta make, because I feel like it's not something that you can stop, because you can't police someone's solo queue. You can't say what they can and can't do in their own time.
True.
Exactly.
It'd be nice if Riot did, though. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
I
really
agree.
want people going 0-15 and
Exactly.
Singed in my ranked games.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. So I feel like if someone is like legitimately just running it down from D3 to Plat 2, that person just should be banned by Riot.
I
And if they're
mean,
not, then who are we to say they shouldn't be able to
they've
play?
been stepping it up lately, though. Riot, gotta give it to them. If it genuinely looks like you're running it down, you do get banned straight away.
I agree. Actually,
Yeah.
yeah. If that happens in like my games, for example, and
Yeah.
my whole team reports them, then like 2 or 3 games later, I'll get that instant feedback report thing.
True.
the
So,
only
like,
times I've seen that happen, though, is if someone, like, genuinely disco nooners
Yeah,
or admits
yeah.
that they're running that down.
Exactly, yeah.
Otherwise, how do you
Yeah.
distinguish between, like, a bad game and intentionally feeding?
Yeah. Soft inting, I guess, is another
True.
thing, right? Like,
True.
you
Yeah.
sort of like farm and
You
jungle camps instead of ganking for like
Yeah.
30 minutes.
You can't police that. That's not
That's
gonna
exactly
happen.
right.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like you can't really do anything about it, but you should just make it less viable for the person to do, right? You should just say, like, if you were D3 last season and you just entered your way to Plat 2, then you can't play at all this season because, Kite was D4.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, and just speaking of Nunu, like I played in the ECB event, and my team absolutely griefed me by picking Nunu last second because my support was on like 450 ping.
Oh,
My jungler dogged me, and rage quit all
Yeah.
the servers for some reason. But I did have a pretty good Lee Sin top lane though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Anyone else have anything to say on that particular issue?
About people dropping down.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the only thing that can be done personally is orgs upping the restrictions on people from doing it. Like I already suggested a few in my videos, but I think like P3 peak and above in season 10 and like P2 peak and above in season 9 for Iron to Gold could be a good rule, and you just copy that across for Iron to Plat with like D3 and D2 peaks in those like the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
That can be tricky though because like there may not be a higher skill gap between Plat 3 to Plat 2, but from D4 to D2, that's in my opinion
It's
there's
huge,
a bit of a skill gap. So that rule's a little bit tricky to work
like
around.
you'd have to be like be relative, right? So
Yeah.
what the same like ratio that Plat 3 to let's say just play Plat 4 to Plat 3 is, it would be like D4 D3, all right? It would be
And
Or-
even the
or
start
any-
of this season,
but
sorry.
sorry, but yeah, I feel like the numbers don't really matter because I think the concept itself is a good idea. Like there should definitely be like just like a hard cap.
Yeah, I mean you could
Yeah.
change it to D4, P4 or whatever, but like you say that there's a big gap between D3 and D2, and I agree, but like that's all the more reason to get rid of people that were D2 2 seasons ago. And yeah, I think like the thing that you have to do is increase the rules from just last season to the last 2 seasons because people have plans to drop down. They've like
Yeah.
admitted it and been
Yeah.
smurfing in events while doing it. So like
Yeah.
it's pretty obvious. Otherwise, just
Yes.
come up with like a blanket rule. Just like if you're ever diamond or ever like P1, you can't play iron to gold.
Yeah.
Could be something to look into in the future, right? On the same kind of topic though, right? Because we're talking about people who were once at a higher level now dropping down. With the metas rapidly evolving, sometimes this can have a effect on someone obtaining a higher rank. Maybe their main champion is extremely strong, and then it gets gutted, and then they drop back down. Where do we fall on this kind of issue, Oobi?
So you're basically saying, one trick Katarina, like she got buffed, she got really strong in preseason, and whoever that was climbed to diamond, but
Yeah.
the champ got gutted, and he started playing other champs, but his skill level on other champs is gold,
Yeah.
and
then
he
ends
drops down
up...
to gold. Ooh, that's a toughie. I feel like still we should be considering the same rules for them because they would have played in higher elo. And if they are consistently like playing ranked games, and staying where they are, like if it's not that obvious that they're like sandbagging or whatever, I hate using that word, but I think we can come to a point where we could let them play if it comes to that point. Like, but that's like up to admins to decide. I feel like in
Yeah.
particular situations. Yeah.
Because I find that as a concept where, they play this one champion at a higher skill level, but the rest of the champions are at a much lower skill level.
Yeah, I know of a guy who's literally barred one trick and he plays in Master Elo, but everything else he plays in Silver to Gold Elo level.
Yeah.
So I know where you're coming from. But yeah.
What about yourself, Josh?
Look, I think it gets to a point like you can restrict things as much as possible to, eliminate all these players, but I think given thing like especially this season, like the mass amount of items that have changed, that's people have had to basically relearn their champions, relearn their builds, and find new optimal ways to play things. Things change over the years, so someone that like I think someone that was maybe diamond, for example, last year may not necessarily be playing at a diamond level this year. So you got to take things into consideration on on a case by case basis, and look at what's happened over the years as well. You restrict things too much, you cull half your player base, and you just hurt yourselves even more than you intend.
That's another thing that we need to talk about. I feel like the case by case thing. I feel like, do we have the resources to do that though? Like, when it comes to tournament adminning and all that, going through every single player, every single tourney, and then like literally going through all of them and finding out whether there's like that person that has demoted like by being bad, or person who's done it intentionally. Like, we're never gonna be 100% on that, are we?
No,
No.
I don't think that's why I personally don't like case by case stuff. Like, I think if you picking individuals and teams and DQing them, like I don't want to see another crack and teal situation where they're just banned
Oh
because
dear.
they shouldn't be able to play, right? But you identify the reason why they shouldn't be able to play and make a rule around that, rather than just say these specific people can or cannot play.
Yeah. Because even though a lot of the community knew that the jungler intentionally demoted from Diamond, there was still no one came forward with proof. It was more of a, well, you're not playing, which can be seen as a bit of a target hit. Right. Does anyone else have anything else they'd like to say on this matter?
There's a couple of things in chat at the moment. Oobi says he's out there getting carried by 4 sandbaggers and he's still not allowed an INTG because you're platinum. That's why you're not allowed to play an Iron to Gold.
He's currently gold. He really sucks, but he was plat 1 last year. At one point.
The other thing that Peroa mentioned was that he says he didn't know that the new items would affect his wave management. If you're referring to what I said before, that's not what I mean. Your fundamentals are still essentially the same, but the way the game is played, I think, has changed significantly since all these new items have come in.
Yeah. So we're basically just saying Peroa has no fundamentals.
He gets a Gale Force to dodge skill shots now.
True. Man doesn't.
Or another one to jump in with.
Hey, wait, where's that video?
Peroa peaked.
Peroa peaks. That reminds me of that video, MV.
No flame there. No flame.
I mean, Brains did one exactly like that. He was cosplaying it not too long ago. Now, this is a podcast about your tournaments, not roasting Peroa. You guys are going off topic. Well, yeah.
Good point.
Dude, I like the comment about Jepman playing 17 junglers at a master level, though, which is true, but like, I still sometimes die to Gromp on stream, I guess.
It's kind of doomed sometimes.
Maybe we should just keep streaming Carney Alpha first round then.
Yeah, dude, it's working out pretty well so far.
Or you play Udia in my game and somehow we lose the Bronze League.
Yep, that was definitely on me as well.
Good team.
They're the best Iron to Gold team right now.
It's actually so good to see the Bronze League doing well. Like, the majority of their roster has been together for longer than the majority of the Alpha roster, and like,
Yeah.
It's just good to see a team that's like stuck together and willing to improve as a team rather than just like disbanding after 2 weeks because of poor placements.
Hang on, isn't that why you left us?
No, it wasn't because of poor placements, Envy. If you want me to get into it on the podcast, I can. But
Not right now.
Let's not do that.
let's-
No.
Let's
Just
not
leave
yell at
that.
me on my own podcast, please.
But
Right.
yeah, it's good to see a team not disband after poor placements or resort to smurfing and shit like that.
Mm.
There's a
That's why I'm
comment. There's a
weak
comment
man.
in chat too. I love when sandbaggers call out sandbaggers.
Yeah, pro done sandbag. Right. So once someone has been caught smurfing, does their damage and what they say to you, are you less likely to believe what they say? We'll start this one off with Josh.
Yeah. Largely, it depends how they respond to it. Someone like I'm going to use the same example again, right? So I think when Vigilant was caught, or La Prohibitor, or however you guys want to refer to him as, was when he was caught smurfing. How long ago was it? I don't know if anyone here
It was
else
like
remembers.
3 to 4 months ago, or like a bit
It was
longer than
longer,
that.
wasn't it?
Longer.
Might have been a bit longer than that, but
Yeah.
in my opinion, it largely depends how the person responds to it.
Mm.
From there, like ultimately, you need to have a level of trust in that person that they're not going to do it again.
Mm.
But it's hard because it's people say it's so easy to smurf, and look, in reality, it is. You just need to know how to do it properly, and I'm not going to say it here because I don't want to give anyone in the chat any ideas how to smurf in our tournaments, because you shouldn't do that anyway.
It's bad.
It depends how people respond to it, and I think in this particular case, that I'm talking about, this person has responded quite well. They'll troll by like registering in free agents, but they won't actually play the game. People that, on the other hand, though, people that like on the more extreme cases that we've seen in the past, where we ban someone and they come back, the case in the case of Wysilian, we had a ticket in our server one day. This player was registering and saying they wanted to register from Japan and play in our tournaments from Japan. And then I looked at this person's status, and it was the proud founding member of the Wysilian fan club. And
he played Rengar as well.
That it's a support player that plays Rengar, and like we ban this person because they smurf in our events. But the number of accounts that come through both community servers and try to circumvent our rules, try to get us to open up registration to another region, which would just completely disadvantage them. It just makes no sense. And then the fact that they lie about it when they're pulled up on it, that's the other part of it. They're not trustworthy. You can't trust people like that again.
At the end of the day,
that's
it
what
just
ruins
makes it. It makes it like not a fun environment at all when you have so many Smurfs trying to like play in elos they shouldn't be playing, and
Yeah.
like you just like there are people who like I'm gonna bring this up again, like have 95 gigs, just come home, just want to chill, play with a couple friends, like, and they play in their own elo, but they come across these guys who are I'll like trying to feel good about themselves, I'd say. Like that's a bit rude, but people who end up playing in lower elos just so that they can like trash some like gold elo, plat elo person. I feel like it just creates a really, really bad environment for people who are just trying to enjoy the game. That's my point of view anyway about that.
Well, I personally I find when someone smurfs, if it is, let's say, a new team registered for first time, right, and then the enemy team has a, like, let's say diamond smurf in an iron to gold event, the new team gets completely annihilated. They're not coming back to the tournament scene because they just got whooped. And then the diamond player's only playing because he can't handle his own elo. He has to play in a lower elo bracket just to try and prove he is top shit when he's playing into arguably weaker players.
Hmm.
True. That's just the point. Yeah, I wanted to make was like it's just not fun for the people who are like in that actual bracket. That's yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's not fun, and I think I don't know. I like as I'm not an admin, I don't know what the orgs actually do for this kind of thing, but like I'd like to see some form of like a warning or permaban system for like these guys, not just in the tournaments that they're smurfing in, but like in the tournaments that they're eligible in as well. Like orgs and people like Stormwolves, Shory, Ocelots, and Swirly, Vincenza, and a bunch more. Like they do this, and they've like done it multiple times now, and they will continue to do it probably. But like they can still play games like after their ban length is over, and they can still play the events that they're actually eligible for.
Yeah. So what you're hitting on is they should be punished because they're playing in lower elo brackets that they're not eligible for. They should be punished in brackets they are eligible for because they played in brackets they're not eligible for, right?
Yeah, for sure. And just ban them straight up from the Discord because like that can help prevent other accounts that they own get in. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
think it's probably
where's
mighty
where's
bad.
Galaxy B? He had a great example of this the other day.
Ah, it was fun. Yo, limit testing, you wanna bring Galaxy B onto the mic?
I mean, no. He's not like
You know it off the
not
top of your
around to
head?
like join a live podcast. What?
What about yourself, Limit? Have you ever had this case?
Of what? Someone smurfing. I mean, I'm not gonna bring up any names, all right? Because I
Jeb
feel like
named
that's
them all. Jeb actually just named them all. So
Oh,
Uh,
I didn't name nearly all of them.
he didn't
Connor,
name anyone.
Heroic Trash Can.
I mean, yeah. Look, I mean, I don't want to bring up names, obviously, because that just creates conflict in the chat, and everyone's just gonna like, it's gonna like create negativity and stuff, and it's just gonna ruin it. So, but yeah, I think in general, smurfing is just a shit thing to do. Honestly, like I feel like everyone joins up expecting a competitive event at their skill level, and they can just not expect most people don't expect to go up against like a full diamond team or a full plat team or like a bunch of like people who demoted or whatever. Like they just want to play against iron to gold players, right? It's the iron to gold scene. It's the iron to plat events, right? So to play in outside of that, honestly, I just think is just bad. And then you're also getting prizing for it as well. So you're taking prizing from people who otherwise would be eligible because you're just naturally better than them anyway. And then I suppose like because you're smurfing, right, it's not as easy to just catch you because you're playing on an account that's technically eligible but you own one that's higher.
yeah,
And that can sort of ruin it because like you guys said before, people get smashed and don't come back. Like I mean, I don't think it's that extreme where like, it'll be 1 week and they just won't come back, but I mean, I know that's happened, but I feel like it'd be more common that it happens like multiple weeks and nothing gets done, or they see that they feel like nothing gets done.
yeah,
I just think that's just bad in general. So I think that if someone is caught doing that, then yeah, it does sort of damage their reputation. I mean, yeah, how they react to it, I think is fine, like for the relationship going forward. But I feel like there's always that like mistrust because they've already done it, right?
yeah. I get that, right? So going on to this topic then, going forward, right? This is more directed towards the current tournament admins. Sorry, Jep. What are some of the ways that you guys are thinking of trying to fix, the iron to golds and the iron to plats? Could be new rules. Maybe you're dropping some of the older ones. Maybe some new like formats. What are we thinking, Josh?
So I don't want to give away too much in terms of what we're doing, and I've been, so my advisors have strictly told me not to tell everyone what we're doing. But I'll give some general comments about what we're doing around our rule space. Rule changes are coming for BSV. For those that didn't already know, one of the large ones is that people already know is we're dropping our rank game, 3 rank game per week requirement. That's one of the ones that we're dropping. I won't say why, but it'll all be made clearer soon. Some other things that we're doing around the rule space, we've listened to a lot of the views of the community that have voiced their opinions about why X rule is not good, why this one is better than this one, and how it doesn't work, and all of that good stuff. We're taking a lot of things into consideration and making changes that we believe are morph. It might make people think that we're making things more stricter, but when you're talking about integrity of events and integrity of tournaments, you got to have a firm stance on these things. It might hurt a few people. A few people might get upset. It's too rough. It's too harsh. But at the end of the day, you got to protect your tournaments. If you are here for what you're here for a reason to provide tournaments to the community. You care about what you do and you care about your community. You should do whatever you can to protect it. And that's, largely what a lot of our changes that are upcoming are aimed at doing.
Yeah. What's the what's the reasoning behind keeping the changes a secret at the moment? Is it more of the suspense aspect, or?
No, it's not the suspense thing at all. We're planning another circuit, and there's a lot of big changes that are coming as part of that. So it'll be sort of a flow-on effect from that. So when we announce the dates and things for our upcoming circuit, there'll be a set of rules for that, and then for our weekly events flowing on after that, there'll be some further changes as well. So we're taking it in like a staggered approach. So we're sort of slowly releasing things rather than just dumping it on everyone at once, because that just wouldn't be fair.
So what I'm hearing is Team Tristana will no longer complain every week that they have to play ranked games.
I don't think it's just them that complains. I think it's literally nearly 99% of the teams that participate. And people still ask, do I have to play 3 ranked games? Yes, you still have to play 3 ranked games. So does everyone else. Otherwise you can't play.
Right, and then moving on to the ECB tournament team, either Oobi or limit testing, whichever wants to speak on the topic first, I guess. What are you guys thinking about implementing?
As far as I know, we are planning on a couple of changes, because as it stands, our rules aren't as clear as it should be. So we've had a bit of issues with that. So we're trying to fix up our rule book, basically. That's what we're working on currently. We don't have anything big or anything massive that we've planned, as far as I know. That's gonna come into place. That's gonna majorly change how people sign up, but we're looking into what we can do to make everything a bit more fairer to people who should be actually playing that ELO, like they are.
Okay.
Yep.
Limit, anything to add on from Oobi?
Yeah, so the rules have been a problem. I think that the language is mostly what the issue is, because there's a lot of stuff that's implied, whereas it's not clear. And then we'll get tickets, people asking about it, or they won't ask, and they'll just sort of glance at the rules, and then they'll just sign up, and then they'll sort of think that they're eligible, then we'll get into a voice call and say, yeah, look, sorry, this is why, this rule that we have, and they'll be like, oh, we thought it was this, and we'll be like, oh no. But okay, fair enough. I can understand why you'd think that, but that's not what it actually is. So
Yeah.
we can't let it play. But yeah, I feel like that's kind of on us to fix. So yeah, we'll probably be getting onto that very soon.
Okay, and then Jep, I know you're not a part of an org right now, but what are you thinking? What could they add to improve their rule books or anything along those lines?
There's a bunch of things, but I think not being afraid to implement and test new rules as soon as possible rather than waiting would be a good thing. Do you guys find that people smurfing in the gold and platinum tournaments is like about the same, or is it more in one than the other?
I think it's more often for us. It's like diamond players wanting to play in platinum events. Because I feel like it's a lot easier to find those particular people because like the skill gap is so much higher, right?
Yeah.
Whereas and the people who like that drop from plat to gold, or like people who have plat accounts who are like playing on a gold account for the event, they do exist, I think, but like there probably are a lot less of them. But for example, our last event that we had, there was at least 7 or 8 teams, probably, or no, I think it was 7 teams that had like players that
7
shouldn't really be entering. So yeah, I think the diamond players trying to play in the plat events is the problem, really.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah. Well, I mean, I think
And,
part of that is because of the lack of open tourneys.
I agree. Yeah.
So
And I just think the problem with that is when you do them, it's hard to get teams.
Because they
Like
quite,
they just sort of don't really sign up,
I mean, they're quite stuck up, right? Like,
and
they
they
don't
don't
sign up to the weekly ones because
exactly.
I think the single elim weekly tournaments is personally just an out-of-dated format. I'd really like to see more like LCS style ladders, like how the last ECB one was supposed to be run,
Yeah.
rather than just like these weeklies into some sort of gauntlet thing.
Yeah. I'm gonna be real. I don't know if Oobi feels the same way, but I don't think that was ran optimally. I think there was a lot of organizational issues there, and it could have been done a lot better.
Part of it was poor timing as well because end of the year, but like New Year, I think like now's a good time to transition to some sort of format like that, or like test other formats. Like some stock used to do solo duo events, which would get a bunch of people, and like that's a bit of fun. You guys already tested out like your Twitch rivals style thing, and I think a lot of people in that had a bit of fun.
I lost
Yeah,
first
there's just
round.
like other formats besides the rank restriction and open tourneys that you can try, but I would like to see more open tourneys if like that's something that orgs are at all interested in doing. Platinum to some sort of diamond level like D3 or D4 could be a good thing to like give those players an event to play in, because realistically low diamonds don't stand a chance against full challenger teams majority of the time.
Yeah. I think that's the issue, is though, isn't it? That the higher you go, the more sort of skill brackets you sort of need to add, and I think that's probably to keep it competitive anyway. And I think that's probably why there aren't as many implemented in the way that you suggested. But I do like the one that you mentioned with D3 to plat, or those kind of ones.
The other thing you could do, right? Sorry to cut you off, Jet. Would be maybe like an import rule kind of thing, right? Whereas you can only have one player who was this rank, so to speak, right? So let's say you only have one player that was Diamond 2 or something. And
What?
Then, well, I mean,
So
if we're bringing out the brackets, right? Like,
Okay.
because like you said, the skill gap is like
Yeah.
massive to add
Yeah,
like
it
heaps
is,
of
yeah.
brackets. So maybe because obviously if you extended it out to, let's say, a plat to diamond 2 tournament, right? Maybe the team can only have one diamond 2 player, and then it
Right.
trickles down,
Okay.
so to
Mhm.
speak.
Right.
I mean,
Uh,
even if it's plat to D3, I think you still get like you probably get most of the Iron Plat teams, right? Because they still stand a chance, and then you get like some of the lower ranked open teams, and then the open tourney, like the fully open tourneys, count like catered towards the rest of the players. So you sort of like catering to people of most skills. I don't think you could do like Iron to Silver or something because you'd get a lack of participants.
Yeah.
But for like a possible rule change for the Iron to Plats is you could just make it platinum only. I don't know if that like I don't know if many golds and below play in those or if it would restrict a bunch of people. But then like at least you're still catering to those people in the Iron to Golds themselves, and it prevents
Ah,
the Iron to Plats from intentionally demoting down to the Iron to Gold. So you sort of like killing two birds with one stone with that sort of thing.
I think there are some plat teams that will have maybe like one gold on them.
And how many of those golds are like people that have dropped down from being Plat? I
Well,
feel like the number would be sort of big. Like, yeah, I get that you play in the Iron to Plats,
yeah.
but I don't know any like many other people with like gold peak that play in them or like recent gold peak.
Yeah, you're probably right. Unless it's like a throw together team for the one event, right?
And like even if you are restricting like those gold players that want to play Iron to Plat, right? You're still giving them the Iron to Gold events that they can play in.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah, I think transitioning to ladders, testing and changing new rules with logic and reasoning behind why you're implementing those rules and why they are what they are. Um, I think content, like YouTube content from orgs, would be pretty cool, and there's a lack of that at the moment. Yeah, I just want to see like change.
Hopefully, we're able to get that for you.
What are we eating, Oobi?
Is it possible to restrict a player to play into either gold or plat and not both? Is what Jobby is suggesting in chat. But then I think you possibly still get those like Iron to Plat players planning on dropping down to Iron to Gold intentionally, maybe.
Yeah.
And like if you keep it at Plat minimum, then like they have to go like the 6 months or year or whatever with like out playing the Iron to Plat before they can drop down. So yeah, I don't know. It's a deterrent, but that's just my opinion.
Chex brings up a good point though. Is that bringing that kind of rule in might encourage people to play on alternative accounts because they're being restricted from being able to play in both.
I
We'll
also
catch 'em.
definitely 100% think that the level cap needs to be increased.
Yep.
Because yes,
Increase to
alt accounts is a
3,000.
thing.
Nah.
Did
But
you say
yeah, absolutely.
3,000?
Like, no, I have an account, right? That is a Smurf account. It's what level 150, I think. I think it's like level 150, right? And I have other accounts that are like a little bit less than that, but much
Yeah.
higher than the level at the moment that it is. And I think it would be pretty reasonable to expect that someone playing a competitive event would have an account that would be like played on significant, like a lot, right? Like you'd be playing years to be like have an interest in wanting to play competitive and having the skill to be able to do it.
So what we're
So
thinking, at least level 100.
at least, yeah, like I feel like that's 100% reasonable. And if you get banned, well, I mean, unlucky, man. You shouldn't have got banned. Like,
Well,
Why-
Trashman's main account was 155, or like the account that he played on Kinda Goals with was 155, and you know that he had like a plat account, right? So like, yeah, I don't know. You could base it off a number around that, maybe.
like the one that I play on tournaments at the moment is like, what is that? That's 147.
147. I
So like,
I get raising it, but I think if you raise it too much, and let's say someone has been banned, right? I get, toxicity and all that, we're not encouraging that. But I think if you make it too high, the player count is going to start dwindling because it will cut off.
What's too high in your opinion?
I think if we're going into like the 125s or above.
who do you know that legitimately has a main account that's below level like 130?
Let me do some looking
Just,
real
just,
quick.
just,
Just
a
open
quick-
up your friends list and have a look.
I'm
just a quick-
looking
yeah.
right now.
Like the bans from Riot are like 2 weeks or perma, right? Is that it, or is there like a middle one?
Apparently Vigi's main isn't even 110.
Yeah, but that's because you got like a lot of accounts, bro.
Yeah.
It's just like my main account is like level 200 and something, but the amount that I've played, it should be like level 300. It's because I play on other accounts.
I am seeing a lot of people above, right? Especially when they're on like the actual tournament-y things. If the
Yeah,
main is
well,
that low, they likely are new and are too bad and not interested in tourneys.
Exactly.
Another example would be Sparky, right? Like the dude's account is level 258, and he does not have time to play the game all that much.
Yeah, he doesn't play at all, really. He'd be lucky to play like 50 games a season.
Yeah.
So like, to have the level cap at like 70 or whatever, I think ECB's one is 70, so I'll use that as an example. To have it as 70, I feel like is just like, that's pretty attainable. I think that's pretty easy to do, especially if you buy like an XP boost or something. You could probably do that in a week, right? And if you're gonna buy a level 30 account, and just to play in these, which I know people do, because I mean, I don't know why. I don't understand it. I feel like it's a waste of time. But if that's what you want to do, then that's cool. But we'll catch you and we'll let you play.
If you guys like another way that you guys could determine what number you restrict it to, right? I assume you have like a list of the accounts that you have caught smurfing. Just have a look at, like that average or like the highest on that, I suppose.
Yeah. Could
That'll be a good starting point for sure.
Can look. That'll probably
You don't
actually.
Do it
Yeah,
right
that'll take a bit of time. I'm not gonna do that right now. I was just making sure we had like something there, but I'm pretty sure we do. So yeah, we should be right.
Right. So before we end, is there anyone in chat who would like to ask these 4 men questions? If you have a
Can we
question,
then end for 6 months?
that's not a valid question.
Okay. Unfortunate for Neymar there.
I mean, it's not my fault Neymar ran it down on my team. Any genuine questions for the tournament admins and Jep?
And Jet,
And Jep.
not Jetman and the tournament admins.
Thoughts on getting platinum this season?
a
I
good
offered
band
to
name.
race Envy to platinum.
Wow.
When
I'll
is
raise
Jepman
you.
getting his Macca's order?
What's going on with Jep?
When's
Just been singled out.
What the fuck?
Yeah, what's
We
going on with
gotta-
Jet?
you gotta ask Checksman if she's dropped the nuggets yet for his order.
What did I got Macca's after work today, and I got a medium McChicken meal with a hot chocolate and Big Mac sauce and the McChicken, and yeah, that was it.
Real question here for all the Macca's fans, Jep. Filet official, no.
No.
I don't like tartare. Is it tartare sauce? Tartar
Tartar.
sauce? Yeah,
Tartar,
I
I
don't
think
like
it
the
is, yeah.
sauce, but like I can go for a fish. It's just the bun Like, there's not all that much on the burger besides the fish and the bun and the cheese and the buns.
No, it's not the cheese. It's the half slice of cheese.
Yeah, I don't get that.
half.
Yeah, it checks. Why do they put half a slice of cheese on the filet of fish and I think it was the chicken and cheese?
Is it because the bun is a bit smaller?
That's probably
It
why.
shouldn't
yeah.
matter. Like they put a full slice of cheese on the cheeseburger.
Mm.
True. I heard envy over Jep in the jungle. Confirm or deny? Can you confirm? I have a screenshot.
The bun is the same size as the cheeseburger. Yes, that's exactly what I just said.
Yeah, NB outjungled me in a scrim 2 years ago.
Yeah,
As captain.
I was.
Oh,
fucking off.
dude, that was so
He still has
bad,
the
man.
screenshot. It's actually his background.
Best
Dude, that
top.
game tilted me so hard.
It was great. Okay,
But then we won like another how many other scrims?
who cares?
I heard that
Yeah,
Envy
yeah,
is the
yeah,
best.
exactly.
Oh, here we go. I heard that Envy is the
Oh,
best
here we
top
go.
jungler mid ADC and I2G and I2B. Can we know if this is true?
I mean, I'll 1v1
Um,
him top any day.
Well, I
Bruh,
put a
it's
bounty
one
on his
time.
head and he lost. So
No, I got griefed. There's a difference.
You got
yeah.
grief? No. I'll do it like you just pick any chat, bro. I'll do it right now if you want.
Mate.
the real question is when is Gryffindor returning to Ironplat?
Yeah,
When
we want-
Gryffindor decides he wants to play enough ranked games to be eligible, I guess.
True. The man's kinda
Imagine
left.
playing ranked games.
Right.
He left when Riot stopped prizing the events.
True. Right. So some
He can
closing
only get-
remarks.
Yeah.
Where can people find you? We'll start this one off with Jep because we haven't done a lot of that tonight. Where can people find you, Jep?
New South Wales. Or you can search Jepman on YouTube. I don't really use Twitter or anything else, so yeah, just search YouTube, post stuff sometimes. I don't stream because I don't have internet. That's about it.
That's about it. Okay, Oobi, where can people find you?
I think the only place you can find me on is Discord. That's Oobi #3195. That's about it.
Limit testing.
I don't really have socials or really use them. Yeah, so don't worry about it. Don't come find me.
Okay,
all
don't
good.
find limit testing.
If you've done something wrong, Limit will find you
Stay away. Leave me
and
alone.
you'll know about it.
And Josh?
Everyone knows where to find BSV. We've got the BSV Discord, twitter.com/BSV Live as well, and our website as well, www.bsvlive.net.au. Some big things coming for that as well. So
Big things. Yo, when do we get in the
keep your-
in-house spot?
that's not one of the things, but
Ah, shit. Okay, I shouldn't have leaked it.
leaked it. What do you mean? That bot was trash.
It's not my fault you paid some stingy ass.
Hey.
Okay,
Hey,
my
what?
bad,
Let's stick to the
bad.
topic.
What are you doing?
Guys,
It's supposed to be a podcast.
it's still podcast. Right.
Where is the BSV Discord link, Arcane? Do you need another link? Have you left the server again?
Arcane went boom again.
Did he? Alright, let's add him. Ah, he's still in here. He's good. Any other questions?
Yeah, anyone else got anything before we go? Can podcast and play Minecraft at the same time? What can't this man do? What can't you do, Josh?
I can't fight fires while playing or watching, talking on this podcast. That's what I can't do.
True.
I have been able to admin a tournament via remote desktop connection from my phone from the back of a fire truck.
What?
So yeah, that was
Are you volunteer or are you
I'd
like?
taken up someone's slot in the game and then AFK'd, and they couldn't start their game for 20 minutes because I was stuck in there.
Wait, he needs to promote the thingy I said in his DM.
He needs to promote the thing he said in DMs. Oh, I don't know if Envy will allow me to do it.
Wait, is it Parole's Twitch? It's kind of. Oh, shit. Someone left?
Huh?
Did you kick him?
Oh, there we go.
No one kicked him.
I'm back. Are we good? We good?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say what Paroa sent me.
What did he send you?
Alright. So, Weekend Warriors Academy are hosting Iron to Plat trials as well.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
So you guys should check out the Weekend Warriors if you're looking for a solid Iron to Plat team.
Envy's not allowed to trial.
Yeah,
If he's not
well,
allowed to trial, like if you
Fine.
want to actually win a tournament, I would suggest join Weekend Warriors. They're a solid team, solid squad, and been improving a lot lately, and it's actually been crazy.
Yeah.
So they got some solid infrastructure over there. So if you want a pretty good team, I'd suggest head over to Weekend Warriors. Look out on their trials and give it your best shot.
And that will wrap it up for tonight. Thank you all for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
It's been a pleasure.
next week, same time.
Same place.
Same time.
I don't think Envy realized how late it was.
It's nearly 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, pineapple belongs on pizza too.
Oh no, we out. We're gonna raid Corby because pineapple does not belong on pizza.
True respect.
No respect.
Are we off now?
Laters.
Now
Later.
are we off now?
Now we are.
All right. Oh,
Well, yeah,
someone's
she
already
just fucking
bailed.
left or what?
Oh.